I never thought my neighbor could be dangerous until the night I saw him standing in the dark, staring at my window with eyes that seemed to glow. What was he hiding behind that cold, unreadable face? At first, I thought it was just loneliness or maybe a strange habit. But then the noises started, whispers, footsteps pacing endlessly in the dead of night. I tried to ignore it, but the feeling of being watched grew stronger. One evening, I caught a glimpse of him dragging something heavy into his basement. It was wrapped in a dark cloth, and no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't see what it was. My heart pounded with dread. Curiosity got the better of me. I decided to watch his house from my window, hoping to understand what was happening. But what I saw made my blood run cold. He wasn't alone down there. The figure moved unnaturally, almost like it wasn't human. I blinked, but it was still there, lurking in the shadows. Was I imagining things, or was something truly wrong next door? That night, I heard scratching at my back door. I froze, heart racing. When I finally dared to look, there was nothing but the cold wind. Yet, I knew it wasn't just the wind. Something was trying to get in. I tried to tell my friends, but they laughed it off. "You're just stressed," they said. But I couldn't shake the feeling that my neighbor was watching, waiting for something, and I was running out of time. One afternoon, I noticed strange symbols carved into the fence between our houses. They looked ancient, almost ritualistic. What kind of person would mark their territory like that? That night, the power went out. I lit a candle and heard chanting from the neighbor's basement. The voice was low, guttural, and filled with menace. I wanted to run, but my feet felt glued to the floor. Suddenly, the basement window shattered. A cold wind blew through the house, extinguishing my candle. In the darkness, I heard footsteps coming up the stairs. They were slow, deliberate, and getting closer. I grabbed my phone to call for help, but the screen was cracked, flickering with static. The line was dead. I was completely alone, trapped with whatever was coming for me. The door creaked open slowly. A shadowy figure stepped inside, but it wasn't my neighbor. It was something else, twisted, malformed, with eyes that burned like fire. I tried to scream, but no sound came out. The creature moved closer, whispering words I couldn't understand, promising pain and darkness. I realized then that my neighbor had unleashed something far worse than I imagined. Suddenly, the creature vanished, leaving behind a cold silence. I stumbled to the window and saw my neighbor outside, watching me with that same unreadable expression. Was he controlling it, or was he its prisoner? The next day, I found a hidden door in the neighbor's basement, covered in strange runes. It pulsed with a dark energy that made my skin crawl. What was behind it? I had to know. I forced the door open and descended into a cavernous room filled with bones and strange artifacts. In the center was a glowing orb, pulsating with a sinister light. I reached out, unable to resist its pull. The moment I touched the orb, visions flooded my mind. Dark rituals, ancient evils, and my neighbor's true identity. He was no ordinary man, but a guardian of something terrible. Suddenly, the cavern shook violently. The orb cracked, releasing a scream that echoed through the earth. I barely escaped as the room collapsed behind me, sealing the horrors inside once more. Back in my house, I thought I was safe. But that night, the whispers returned, louder and more urgent. The creature was coming back, and this time, it wasn't alone. I looked out the window and saw dozens of shadowy figures gathering around my neighbor's house. They moved like a swarm, their eyes glowing with hunger and malice. I knew I had to act fast. I grabbed whatever I could find to defend myself, but deep down, I feared there was no escape from what was coming. The front door exploded inward. The creatures poured in, their snarls filling the air. I fought desperately, but they were too many, too fast. Darkness closed in around me. Just as I felt myself slipping into unconsciousness, a blinding light filled the room. The creatures recoiled, screaming in agony. The neighbor appeared, chanting words I couldn't understand. He raised his hands, and the light grew stronger, pushing the darkness back. But his face twisted in pain, as if the power was killing him. What was he sacrificing to save me? The creatures vanished, leaving only silence. The neighbor collapsed, exhausted but alive. I asked him who he was, but he only whispered, "The guardian of the boundary." Before I could ask more, he vanished into the shadows, leaving behind a chilling warning. Some doors should never be opened, and some neighbors are not what they seem. Since that night, I've never looked at my neighbor the same way. Every creak, every shadow feels like a reminder that the boundary between our world and something darker is thin. Sometimes, I hear faint chanting carried by the wind. I don't know if it's a warning or a curse, but I know one thing: my strange neighbor's story is far from over. I've tried to move away, but no matter where I go, the feeling follows me. The darkness my neighbor guards seems to have marked me forever, a shadow I can never escape. And sometimes, late at night, I swear I see those glowing eyes watching me from the darkness, reminding me that some neighbors never truly leave. The nightmare continues.